Okay, hallelujah, glory, glory. So good to be with you all again today. Thank you so much for tuning in again. We're just excited about everything that's going on at New Creations Chapel and in their broadcasting and the ministry's growing and things are happening, and we just would love very much for you to contact us and get in touch with us and give us some good reports, give us some testimonials. We're here for you. We love you, and we just appreciate every one of you that are tuned in and part of the ministry. So from Pastor Tim and Pastor Tim Camps and Pastor Tim Cummings and all that are involved, we just love you and appreciate you so much. Well, here today we're glad to be with you again, and I've got something I feel to speak over you that will really pertain to young people. I think in particular young people. Young people, meaning late teens, even into their 20s, that type of young people where you haven't got a relationship, or you do have a relationship, or you've had relationships and they haven't worked out with the opposite sex or somebody you're looking for mates or something. I want to bring out a scenario to you that of something that happened down to Ruth and I down in El Paso, Texas, many years ago. We were down there ministering. I was working full time in Mexico, and then we were ministering in the Word, both in Mexico and in Texas, both, and just having a great time down there, doing mission work and just doing everything we could to serve the Lord down there. And it was just really a great time. Just loved it. It was so wonderful. But we were coming back from Mexico one night, and we were driving back, and it was in the nighttime. And we were driving back, and it was in a not quite a real residential area. It was more commercial area where we were coming through. There was some commercial real estate going on down there, buildings and businesses and stuff back through there. And we were coming up toward, there was some restaurants and area. It was a busy area, really a busy area, and a lot of. And we were coming up toward a residential area, but we were primarily not residential, commercial and business and in the area. And so as we're driving up what they call Zaragoza Road, which is a long diagonal road that led back up to where we were staying, or where our place was at, as we're driving up there, we're going about a half mile up the road, and there's traffic everywhere. And all of a sudden, along the edge of the road, sitting right on the edge of the road, right on the berm, I see this beautiful gold gift bag sitting there. Actually similar to the ones that you see in the background there, that we have on the background. And it was a beautiful gold bag, and I thought, man, that looks nice. Somebody has lost that bag, and my wife loves bags. She loves any kind of bags, but she really loves gift bags, and she loves to get the gift bags, and she likes to get gifts for people, and then she likes to give those gives out to people, and she just gets so excited. She'll hand the bag to the person, and she gets so excited about giving the gift. She says, "Here, let me show you what I got you," and she reaches in the bag and she'll pull it out and show them what she got. She's really big on it. She loves giving gifts. She's just the most giving person I know. She really is. And so she was with me on this excursion that we were on. We'd been in Mexico, like I said, ministering. We coming back home. And so the name of this title, the title that the Lord gave me on this is, Your Gold Gift Bag is Waiting. Come and get it. So here's the scenario, how this plays out. So as we're driving there that night, and there's cars behind me, cars turning out, cars everywhere. This is a 4-lane highway. And I see this bag, and I pass it, and I said, "Honey, did you see that gold bag? Oh my goodness, that." And she says, "Yes, I did, and I want it. I have got to have that bag." So I said, "Okay, well, let me see what I can do here." So I went up to the next main road, and I turned to the right, and I said, "Well, this is what we'll do." I get off a little bit of the busier part and got into a little bit less busy. And I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the block. I'll go all the way around the block, and I'll come back onto Zaragoza Road, down before we get to the bag, and then I'll wait till the traffic gets way down, as much as the lights, there's a light down there. I'll wait right here, and then I'll turn out, and real quickly I'll drive up there, and when I get right by the bag, I'll slow down right by the bag, and then I want you to open the door, and I want you to reach out, and I want you to grab that bag and set it in on the floor, and I'll just drive off. We'll keep driving, and it'll be like nothing ever happened. We won't impede traffic. We won't get hit. You'll be excited. You'll have your bag, your gold bag, and I'll be happy because I made you happy because I got your gold bag. And you're just going to be happier than a lark about that. So I pull all the way around and get up there, and I'm at the stop sign waiting to pull out on the busy 4-lane road there, and I watch for the traffic to get down. 4-lane road, and I turn and watch, and the light stops down there, and before anybody starts going in another direction or anything, I pull out, and I start driving up there in the right-hand lane, and I see the gold bag, and she sees the gold bag, and we're both getting excited. So I pull up there real fast. She opens the door and swings the door open. She reaches out and grabs the gold bag and sets the gold bag in on the floor and closes the door, and off I go. I push on the gas, and up the road I go. And I go about 50 feet, maybe 50 feet, maybe 65. I don't go very far at all. And she yells, "Stop the car! Stop!" I said, "What's wrong? What's wrong? You know, there's traffic. Pull off, stop the car." I can't stop right now. Stop the car, stop the car. And she says, "This bag is full of vomit." And I'm in heavy traffic, and you can't throw that out the window. I had to work up, and the aromatic, the aroma starts filling up, coming out into the car. And here's, between her legs down there is a gold bag, about half full of somebody's supper that didn't sit well with them. And we've got it in our car now, and we're saying, "Oh my God, what am I going to do?" You know, so I have to hurry, and I have to go a little bit faster than the speed limit to try to get to a place where I can pull off real quick, and we can unload our new cargo. And by this time, thank God, she didn't have a weak stomach, or there'd have been 2 messes in there. Hers and the one in the bag. Thank God I don't have a weak stomach. It wasn't bothering me. Of course, I wasn't as close to it as what she was, but here's this beautiful, shiny, look at them bags. Wouldn't you like to have that? Look at them bags. You would love to have any one of those bags with gifts in it, but not the gift we picked up. Not the gift we picked up. And so it took me approximately a half mile before I could get stopped and get that out, you know, and for her to get it back out. And she's almost starting to heave, like, you know, almost like, it's pretty aromatic. It probably had went through one day of hot sunshine in El Paso. Now, El Paso sun gets really hot. Matter of fact, there's days down there when it's 100 degrees, and it'll be 95 degrees when it's 10 o'clock at night. I mean, it's hot. So obviously, what was in the bag was stewing, had been stewing. I don't know if anybody else did what we did, have no idea. I know one thing, that we were not settled on keeping that bag. There was no way to clean that out. It had to be relocated, so we got it, got it out of the car and up there. And so we got the windows down. Now we had the air conditioner on there at the time. We turned the air conditioner off, windows down. Let's get this aromatic flavor out of here, and any other germs that might be in there. Let's get this out of here, and on we go. So we go on down, and we get all the way to home, and we're saying, what in the world, Lord? How did this happen? Why did this happen? Why did we miss it? Is there a message in this, Lord, that you want me to try to convey? Is there something that we need to learn out of this? And what came to me is this: everything that glitters is not gold. That's what he spoke to. He said, I want to show you something. You've been working with a lot of young people. You've been working with teenagers. You've been working with, early 20s. At the time, we were in our 40s. I don't know what we're in our 40s, I think, when this went on, what took place. And so he said, I want to show you this. He said, as you're working with young girls and you're working with young boys and you're, young men and women, sometimes this happens. They get involved in relationships. They start getting involved with somebody and they look at the bag and they say, oh my goodness, I cannot live without so-and-so. Oh my gracious, I cannot live without Billy. Oh, he is the man. This is the guy he is the one that I have got to have. You don't know what's in the bag. You're looking at the package and you don't know what's in the bag. You're saying, and this is the way the Lord brought this out. He said, you're looking at the outward appearance and you don't even have any idea what's going on inside that person. What kind of a person you're actually dealing with. So let's just kind of unwrap this a little bit. No pun intended. Gift package, praise God. Let's look at this a minute. He said, I want you to minister on this to a bunch of young people. And I'm not expecting you to go back and get that gold bag. I don't want you to have, we did go get a gold bag, but the gold bag had air in it. Clean air. It was just a gold bag. But I went through the scenario. I went through this thing that we're saying. So as you're looking for a mate, as you're reaching out and trying to find somebody in your life, you want to rush into something. You look at them from the outward and you say, this has got to be what God has for me. There's no doubt in my mind, this is Mr. Right. There's no doubt in my mind, she's the one that I have got. I got to marry that girl. This is the one that I've got to, hold your horses a minute. Slow down a little bit. And God is not a microwave God. God is a conventional oven God. He likes things, He's a slow cooker God, okay? He's not big on things happening. Hallelujah. This has got to be the one that I got to spend my life with her. Here's the scenario. I want to bring a couple scenarios out to you. This happened to one of our friends, one of our dear friends. We'd known him for years. He was actually 10 years older than us. So it can happen to anybody. Anybody can pick up a gold bag and you not like what's inside. Okay? Anybody can do that. I mean, it doesn't just have to be young people. It can be somebody middle-aged. It can be somebody in their 50s or 60s or 80s. You don't know what's in the bag until you really get a hold of it and take a big sniff. Okay? Please. So here's the deal. We had a friend. He was 50-some years old, about 55 years old. And we had another friend that she was about 50 years old. And we thought, they have both been apart from other relationships. They've had other relationships. They had marriages that failed. So we thought, well, I don't know. Should we introduce them? Maybe they could talk and they could pray together, and maybe they could, And so we reluctantly, but we introduced these two, this 55-year-old, and this 50-year-old, and they started talking on the phone. And they started talking on the phone. They started praying on the phone. And I want you to know that they didn't even see the bag. They decided, before they ever saw the bag, before either one ever saw the bag, they decided that they were a match made in heaven. They decided that they knew, talking with each other, never seeing each other, talking with each other, their voices, they're praying and everything. They talk for hours. They talk for 5 or 6 hours on the phone. At the end of this time, they had already decided, without seeing each other, without knowing anything about each other, without knowing what's in the bag, without knowing what's going on and without knowing what kind
Hi
of
there,
luggage.
this is Pastor Tim Cummings. I want to send you a free comic for to be read to your children for a gift of $10 or more. Now, this one has to be David and Goliath, and it'll be a real blessing to you and to read to your children. And it's a story about David and Goliath. Now, what we try to do in all of our pamphlets, and these are all done by New Creations and New Creation staff and New Creation people, and what we want to do is send you out something where you can share the truth, and everything we do is truth right straight from the Bible. So any donation, now remember you got to request it. Any donation you send of $10 or more, we'll send you out a free soul winning pamphlet or a comic. Just request what you want and we'll send it out to you. Thank you for being a part of our program. Thank you for joining us and being such special.
Okay, so here's the scenario. Here they are. They've been talking on the phone. They've been talking for 5-6 hours on the phone, and they've conversed. They've talked through everything, and before they even knew how each other was, really, and you don't know somebody in one phone call. You don't understand that. You can't just get online and just, well, your voices are so sweet together, and you're talking about, everything and what you've done in ministry and how you've been around and everything. And so they're talking about all kinds of things, and as they continue to talk, and they're people are notorious for building themselves up. They're trying to, well, here's what we need to say right now. We need to say this. First impressions are always a lie. Okay? Just get that in. First impressions. You're going to get candy and you're going to get flowers. You're going to get the very best behavior, the very best treatment. You're going to understand that yes, they are they're a match made in heaven. You're just sure of it. We've talked, So as the days went along, they kept talking with each other. They'd be on the phone every day. Well, after about 3 days into it, because they lived quite a distance away. They was probably about 50 some miles away from each other. One's in Indiana and one's in Ohio. And so they lived that far away. And so they worked out an agreement that they were going to meet. And so when they met, they got to meet. And then they actually saw each bag. They saw each other. And they're saying, well, that wasn't quite exactly what I had. Your voice, but they're saying this within themselves. They're saying, well, that's not, I had him visioned. I had him looking a little bit different than that. I had her, I didn't realize that she was so chubby. I didn't, I just didn't know. But anyhow, I said, well, so what they did, they said, this is how they played out. They met each other and they talked more, and they went out to dinner and they had their time and everything, and they kept talking on the phone. Well, eventually they decided that since Ruth and I were just saying, oh my God, what have we done? Why did we introduce them? They're on this fast track. I mean, they're on, this is faster than microwave. I mean, they're moving on. They're wanting to get this thing done. They're talking after 3 phone conversations, they're talking about getting married, and living happily ever after and all the other things that go with it. And we're saying, wait a minute, they ain't even met yet. They don't know what's they don't know what's inside of each other. They've been handing all the candy out and handing all the flowers out and everything, and been all the the wonderful talk and the I did this and you did that and we're just great and Proverbs 27:2. Let another man praise you and not your own mouth, a stranger and not your own lips. Don't be constantly bragging how I am the greatest thing that ever lived and you need me and I need you and here we go and off to the races. And so what happened was they decided that since Ruth and I are ministers, they decided that what we needed to do was that we need to be the ones that minister their wedding and join them. And so this is what they really felt. So they came to us. They said, Rick, you and Ruth want to meet us for dinner. We're gonna talk about some things, and we want to get your input on this, and da 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 da. And so, oh yeah, we can do this. And we're saying we got red flags popping up everywhere. There's red flags all over the place, and I have a feeling that heaven was putting them up. But anyway, so we come and we meet, and we eat, and small talk, all the stuff that you go through at the dinner and everything. And so then they begin to talk to us. They say, well, we want to get married. We've decided. We've already set a date. We've already, picked out, the colors and this and the flowers and all the stuff. We've already got this all worked out. They're only just a few weeks into this thing. It's not very long into it, just a few weeks into it. And so they said, well, we would like very much for you to be the ones that minister our wedding for us. And I said, well, Ruth and I, we're gonna get together and we're gonna pray about it, and we'll get back with you in a day or so, and we'll try to see what the Lord tells us. And so red flags was going up at dinner, and I said, but I didn't say anything then. And so a couple of days later, we get back together with them, and they wanted to know what our answer was. And I said, okay, here's how this plays out. Whenever we minister, whoever, the weddings that we do, we always meet with them, both separate and together, and we meet with them, and we try to unpack bags. There's luggage, there's things going on, there's stuff in the bags that need to be dealt with. You're not seeing what he's got, and she's not seeing what you've got, and vice versa. You're not seeing what's going on there. This is too fast. And so what I recommend, which we always do, is we try to recommend 8 sessions of ministry where we go over things together and separate. We both, Ruth and I, and we'll all meet and we'll go through these things. And they got my face and they said, we don't need that. We don't need that. We're sure. We're absolutely sure. God brought us together, and we know that He's brought us together, and we're sure that we're, and they had some reservations, after they met each other. I mean, things started to, get a little bit, rough. And and I began to smell, I was smelling like, wait a minute, I remember this. I remember a gold bag we picked up one time, and what I found inside was not what anybody else wanted. And so I don't know if I ministered that to them. I probably did, because I'm kind of blunt sometimes. But so when we got back together, I said, you either have to have 8 sessions where we can unpack some stuff with you guys, or we've decided that there's no way that we can do it. The Lord would not have us do it unless we can go through some sessions and try to work through some details, because there's some issues that both of you have that we see. You may not see them in yourselves, but we see them, and we know that they're there, and we're going to have to. So, and they said, we don't need it. We don't need that. We'll find somebody else to do it. We don't need that. I said, well, you can go to Gatlinburg, and pay $200 and get you one of them canned ones, if that's what, but. So I don't know, honestly, I don't know where they exactly did go. We had a strained relationship there for a while. We did finally end up getting back to be friends, but it was after they were separated and after they were divorced, we got back with them. And so here's how this played out. They got what they wanted. They didn't deal with anything that was in the bags. They had garbage in the bags that they didn't want to deal with. They thought, we'll work out this situation when we get our bags together. We'll get everything cleaned up in the bags and we'll be all set. 5 weeks into the marriage. 5 weeks into the marriage, they're separated. You can't work on that. You can't work on the garbage that's in the bags. You can't. Don't lie to yourself. God does not miss it. You cannot work on things like that and deal with things like that. You've got to focus on that. 5 weeks into it, they are separated. Separated. Living back, he's back at his place, she's back at her place. They're at odds. They were fighting before the wedding even took place. They were 2 weeks before they even got married. They were having issues. They were having words. They were, no second thoughts. No, we're still going to go through with it, but You know, there's some things we got to work through, and you know, we're arguing a little bit, and we're having things, and you know, it's nothing we can't get worked out. I mean, hey, come on, we're 55 and 50 years old. We're smart, we're level-headed, we can get it worked out. It don't matter whether you're 55, 50, 21, 16. If there's baggage there and there's stuff in there that needs to be worked out, don't carry it into a marriage, you know. Otherwise, you're going to be a statistic. You're going to end up a statistic. You don't need to go there. So, with all that being said, it took some time for them to work it out. But we had to do what we had to do. The Lord would not release us, because when on the marriage license, there's 3 places for 3 signatures. Hers, his, and mine. And I didn't want my name being drugged through a divorce, which I saw was coming. I saw it coming. I'm not going to join something which I know is not going to work out anyhow. Okay, so anyhow, all that being said, as we wind down here, I've got to cut this short now. I need you to realize that what I'm telling you is the truth. I'm not making this up. This is how it played out. If you've got some relationship, whether you're young or whether you're old, look at the gold bag, go over the bag and take a sniff and see what's in the bag before you decide and lock down something and then end up being a statistic. So that's how the gold bags. Everything that glitters is not gold, and always remember, first impressions are usually not true. So we love you. Take that word to heart, and if you needed that word, bless your heart and go at it, and give us contact back, feedback. We love you. God bless you.
Hi there, I'm Pastor Tim Cummings, and I'm the founder of New Creations, and we're coming to you today asking you to help us to send the Word of God all around the world. And we have a little pamphlet that we could send out. This little pamphlet, it says Holy Bible out, and it's the book of Romans and John. And inside of it, it's got the full book of Romans and the full book of John. And what we want to do with this is you can turn to the front page, and it's a marked edition. And this marked edition, you can go out and win people to the Lord. So you want to be a soul-winning person? Order one of these or get one of these by making a donation to New Creations Chapel, P.O. Box 777, Richmond, Indiana. And it's got, on the upper right-hand corner here, it's got everything on it. So just look at that, and you'll see how you can help New Creations.